There it is, ladies and gents. Ooh, took a little second on my side, but we are ready for another show for you guys today. We're going to be talking some marketing, probably one of my favorite topics to talk about. I Am Woman playing with Jordan Sparks in the background. Let's get this show on the road.
Shut up and sit down.
The Business Bros Podcast was created for you. Learn from the business professionals who come to share their stories. Find out what's working in business, on social media, what's hot and what's not, straight from the mouths of successful entrepreneurs out there doing the real work. And now, welcome to another episode of
Business Bros. Yeah, all right, Em. It's time to do this. Drop some heat for me.
Yeah, all right, all you business pros out there. Before we jump into the show, just a quick reminder to please subscribe on whichever platform it is that you're listening to us on today. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, and drop a review. Help other like-minded business owners find value from our awesome guests while we rise up in those podcast rankings. We'll sincerely appreciate every single one of you for it, and if you want to be a guest on the show, we'd love to have you on to learn from you as well. Go to www.businessbros.biz, schedule your time, and don't forget to follow us on all our social medias at Business Bros Pod. All right, everybody, we're so excited and honored to bring yet another incredible guest to the Business Bros Pod. Our guest today was inspired to develop a formula, a framework that began as an idea to help colleagues and friends build successful businesses and rise out of the ashes of the Great Recession, and has since turned into a successful and profitable business growth consulting firm. While our guest may not have a crystal ball at her disposal, she still has the experience and firsthand knowledge of how to get through business minefields and safely to the other side. As a sequencing strategist, our guest helps business owners identify alternative routes they might take. She's an expert at helping you tap into your curiosity and creativity to help you avoid roadblocks and pitfalls you might encounter along the way. Tune in to hear our guest's incredible comeback story, how marketing is the lifeblood of any business, and how comparing marketing to a living body can help you make the most of your marketing dollars. Joining us today from Market Atomy out of Oviedo, Florida, the business birthing specialist and host of the Charged Up Studio podcast. Welcome to the show, Danna Olivo.
All right, Danna, 2.5 minutes into the show. What do you think?
Oh, my goodness. I'm going to have to bring you guys with me whenever I go on. I love that intro. That was excellent.
Well,
so I'm excited to be here, really.
Well, perfect. It's a good thing we recorded it, and at the end of the show tomorrow, you're going to get an email from me. It's going to have the full audio, full video, so you can use it to pump yourself up every single day. How about that?
Every day. That's exactly it. It'll be on my websites. It'll be everywhere. So I'm going to need it.
All right, then let's talk about this. James said something curious that caught my attention. Comparing marketing to the human body. What did he mean by that?
Oh, goodness. Well, that's exactly what it is. It's marketing anatomy. When it really came to fruition about 2013, but didn't really come about until 2015. But basically, what I do is I compare the process, the infrastructure of a successful business to that of the human body. And what I mean by that is, in the human body, you have the heart, and the heart is your passion. That is what drives you to do what you do, right? Well, the same thing in business. The heart of the business is the passion, why you do what you do for your customers and your prospects and your clients, okay? The brain of the human body sends the signals to the heart. It basically is what keeps the body running. But in the heart, in the human body, can the heart operate without the brain?
Nope.
No. In business, the brain of the business is your strategic playbook. That is where your systems, your processes, your customer avatar is located. It's where your product and service is located. They have to work in tandem to push your marketing message out through the veins of the body, which are your marketing channels, into the body, which is your market, your target market, But on top of all that, you have you. You are the soul of the business. It's your culture, it's your morals that drive that business.
Let me hover on that, because that's a lot to digest right there, right? And we, you know, especially when we're talking about marketing, which is probably the one thing every business needs, and probably the one thing most businesses do not do. Right. And the way you're describing it is awesome, because when business owners think about marketing, they think of the brain. They're thinking of the product. They're thinking of the service. They're thinking of the features. But that's not really why people buy. People buy because of the heart. People buy because of that emotion. I'll give you an example. You know, I'm teaching my high school students about marketing and advertising in class. And I told them, I go, look, I recently started using this soap provided by Dr. Squash, right? And I go, ladies, you probably won't know what this is because it doesn't show up on your feed. But guys, you know what it is. And the guys were like, oh yeah, I know what it is. And I was like, why did I buy it? And the first thing they went to, which is what every business owner goes to, they said, oh, because it's all natural ingredients. Oh, because this. I go, no, that's not what I bought it for. That's not why I bought it. Guys, why did I buy it? And then that little shy guy in the back goes, because the pretty girl said you smell good. I go, that's exactly why. Because when my wife smells it, she says, ooh, it smells good. That is why I bought it. Not because I'll rationalize the natural part, but I didn't buy it because that. I bought it because hot chick said it smelled good.
And that's exactly it. And you have to get into the minds of your customers. You have to understand what their expectations are. What are their buying habits? And that's what the Marketatomy concept is all about, is in order to bring those customers through the door, you have to understand what is the messaging and what drives the messaging and what is the customer's expectation at every single touch point. That's what we're trying to teach here.
And when you're talking about every single touch point, we're talking about an entire sales process. Am I hearing you correctly?
More than sales. This is what's important to understand, is most companies think that the sales or the actual process ends at contract. That's not the case. Okay. You then have to go on and meet all of their expectations while they are customers, or they're going to fall through the gap and they're going to go to the competition. What you want to do is you want to build a process that will take them from prospect all the way to raving fans on the back end, because they ultimately become your sales force on the back end. Who better to sell for you than people who are satisfied, who know you, like you, and trust you?
You're speaking my language. We're a testimonial company. That's exactly what we do. We capture those video testimonials because it's so powerful. You know, if you're the business owner, you might do a phenomenal job. You might do a great job. But if you tell people how good you are, nobody really believes you. But if your customer who has experienced your product or service had a great experience and they talk about it, everybody believes them, good or bad, right?
Right.
He ain't lying.
Exactly.
So anyway, that's, you know, and with working with, I work primarily with solo and micro entrepreneurs because I've been there. I've done that twice before. And so I understand what they're going through. And with that in mind, I put myself in their shoes to deliver what it is that they need, what they expect. The reason Marketatomy concept came about was because after a major accident down in Brazil that I had, I was laid up for about a year. And I had people coming to me that knew me and told me that, you know, look, I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. And in the process of talking to them, I realized they had no idea how to build a business around their product or service. They had a good product or service. They did what they did well, but they didn't know how to bring those customers through the door and how to feed those customers what they wanted.
So walk me through the process. When you sit down with a client and, you know, they're raving about how good they are at a particular service or a particular product that they got, how do you kind of guide them to understand what the actual process entails for having their business versus just being good at the technical part of their business?
Well, actually, I go on a 5-phased process is what I do, okay? I explain to them, which still falls in line with the Marketatomy concept. I explain to them that there's 5 basic stages that a company goes through in the growth process, okay? First, you have the see it phase. That's your vision phase. That's when you have the business idea, you're ready to, you're thinking you want to go out and you want to start a business on it. Okay. Then you move into the prove it stage. You want to be able to go out there and make sure that people are going to be willing to, first, they want the product or service you're offering, that they're willing to pay the price that you need to make the profit that you need, and also that there's enough of a market out there to support you in your business. Then you move on to what I call the build stage. This is where you build your business model. You've proven the product or service viable. You've decided you're going to start this business. You start building the business. And this is where you start earning your revenue. As you're building the business, you can start, bringing in revenue, etc. You're proving your concept through the business model. Well, you get to a point where it's, okay, I'm ready to grow this business. But in order to grow this business, I need to find money because I can't continue paying out of my pocket or whatever. And so that's when you go into the funding stage. Most small business owners don't understand what's involved in going for funding. They think that just because they have a business, it's an LLC or a corporation, they can just go for funding, and that there's a process behind this. All right. So that's where you have to learn how to do this and how you're going to go about getting this money. Because finally, the fifth stage is the growth stage. This is where you go into your 10x growth, your exponential growth. But by this time, you know how much money you're going to need. You've gotten the funding that you need, and you're ready to start taking that business to the
next
atmosphere.
level.
Yeah, the next level.
There's a lot to unwrap there. Let's take it one step at a time. Tell me about the seed. What are we looking at when we talk about the seed stage? What is it that we're focusing our attention on in that stage?
That's what we call the napkin stage. Okay, that is when you have an idea and you believe that you can start a business. And some people will sit down and they'll start talking about, okay, this is how this business is going to look. This is how I want the business. This is still up in your mind. You haven't really done a lot. You haven't put anything down on paper. Then you go into the prove it stage. Well, in order to go out to do, to prove viability, you need to talk to, potential prospects, talk to audience members, talk to family, friends, talk to, the university, go into the universities and talk to some of your business enterprise students or teachers. Get whatever information you can and find out whether that product or service is something that they would really want to do or to spend the money on.
Let's hold it right there, because when you describe the see it stage, to me, that is the exciting part, right? This is where, you were taking a shower and the light bulb goes off and you're like, this is going to be the next big thing, right? You're super excited. And then you're pumped. You go out and you tell everybody, right? You go out and tell your brother, your sister, your parents and all that stuff. And usually what ends up happening in this stage is you tell somebody that can't see the vision that you see, and you start to get some of this negative feedback, right? And this is where some of these entrepreneurs fall off, because they're trying to explain something that they clearly see, but they can't really articulate that to somebody else, so their vision isn't seen by others, and they get blown off the track. So you're saying we're assuming that these people see the vision and they push forward. And the reason why I wanted to point that out is because in the entrepreneurial space, we're going to hit hurdles. This is just the very first one.
Yes. And that's exactly it. And that's why we've set up these phases. Okay. Because we don't want to get to the build it stage and find out nobody wants the product. Mm-hmm. Okay. And after spending thousands of dollars to move forward to build it without proving viability, that's when a lot of companies end up shutting their doors. Okay?
Absolutely.
This is where a lot of them realize, oh gosh, I'm wearing so many hats, I can't keep up with everything. This is where the rubber hits the road. This is where you start realizing this is more work than I thought.
Mm-hmm. This is where burnout starts to sit in if you get to that phase. Well, then we hit the next hurdle, which is what you were talking about in the prove it stage. This is where you really determine whether you want to be an entrepreneur or not, because now you got to ask questions of people you probably don't know. This is
Right.
where you have to, stand on a stage on your little soapbox and say, hey, I got something. Are you interested? And that's not the easiest thing to do, right?
It's not. It's not. I tell my clients, when you start going out for market analysis, first start doing your research as far as who's out there doing the same thing you are. Because you can rob from them, you can steal from them their business model per se. All right. And you can start fine tuning it into yours. You want to get a script that you can develop so that when you're out there talking to people, you can talk clearly. Clarity is key when you're trying to put out an idea out there for people to understand. And you want to be able to reach those people during your research process, those people who are going to want to buy or, your product or service. So you don't want to just go to, say, mom and dad and say, here's what I'm planning on doing, and they have no idea what you're talking about. You want to make sure you target the people that are going to want to use or buy your product or service.
Now, you mentioned a script, and I really want to harp on this part because a lot of people are like, I don't use scripts. That's not my thing. But having a script, knowing what you're going to say in this prove it phase, it's also not only are you showing that you have a market that's interested in your product, but you're also developing your pitch. And that's really what the script is, right? It's you're going to say things and you're going to get looks on people's faces and you're going to see the response and you're going to say, okay, I'm not going to say it that way. I'm going to modify my script a little bit more. It's more like a living document, wouldn't you say?
It is. I mean, I can tell you it probably took me 3-5 years to really narrow down how I would explain Market Atomy Academy or even Market Atomy, which is my home business, the main business. Okay. But when you think about it, okay, your idea, you're passionate about that. You like that idea. So you can almost develop your own script just from the passion. That's what you want to get out through the script. Okay. You want to get that passion out there. You want to show that you believe in what what you're bringing to the table. Because if you don't have that passion, nobody's going to buy into it.
I like how Kevin Hart put it. He said that, when you see an HBO special, you see that HBO special, you think that's amazing. He's a funny guy. But what you didn't see was the 15 months where he takes a couple jokes. He goes to a little club. He pitches these jokes. One of them really hits. He keeps that one, dumps the other ones, adds some more. And he does this over and over and over again. So that at the end, when you do see the HBO special, it's nothing but great joke after great joke after great joke. And we're developing the script the same way. We're developing our pitch the exact same way. So let's assume we've developed that pitch. We're now good at talking about our product or service. So good, in fact, that we realize there is a market out there for it. And now it's that next step, right? Now we got to fund it. How do we go about doing that?
Well, in the beginning.
I'm sorry, build it. My apologies. We're in the build it phase.
Yeah. In the beginning, most companies are self-funded in the very beginning. But then you move into the build it stage. By that time, you have gotten a feel for who your client is, who your avatar is, who's your target audience. And by that time, during the prove it stage, what you're doing is you're also asking questions. What would you like to see in this product or service? Because that's going to help you develop your business model. And then when you get into the build it stage, you have to start thinking about, okay, are you going to wear all those hats? Are you going to try and do this by yourself? Or are you going to try bringing in other strategic partners? You don't have to hire people. You don't have to hire people full time. You can strategically partner with other companies. You can actually work virtually. I can tell you that I work virtually with programmers and things like that out of India, out of Thailand. So I'm working virtually with a lot, and it's more cost effective for me right now. As much as I'd like to keep it here in the U.S., and right now we've moved completely almost into the gig economy. So you can get just about anybody you want.
And when you're talking build it, I know build it sounds like construction. It sounds like, you have a lot of land and you're going to put a foundation and put up the sticks and then put a roof on. But I think the way you're describing it is more along the lines of this is a process in place. You are not a good accountant. You are not a good, maybe you're not a good salesperson. Maybe you're not great at marketing. Maybe you're not great at, standard operating procedures. And this is where you're starting to develop a team so that you can handle volume. Essentially, you've been doing it on your own. Now you're building a process. When you say build it, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying a process to build and scale.
Right. Exactly. And that's exactly what I'm saying. You're building. Yes, it is like the construction market. Okay. You're building a foundation. That foundation is built on your team and your product service offering that you're bringing to the table. At the same time, you're building in the culture of the business. You're building in the systems and the processes that are going to help you deliver what you're selling. And meet those customer expectations. All of that is developed within the build foundation. All right. By the time you're done with the build it, you've got it down pretty quick. Mm-hmm. You've systematized things. You've gotten it down to where's okay, as much as I can based on the funding that I initially started with. All right. It's a viable product. That your pricing model is correct. Your profit margins are good. You've got a good market but now I need to expand. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm up at the $750,000 revenue mark or the $1 million revenue mark, or maybe a little bit more, but I want to reach my next level, which might be 5, 10, 20 million. All right. How am I going to do that? And this is where I really enjoy working with companies, because they've got the systems in place. They've done things, but they've reached that ceiling. And they need to understand, how do I get past this?
Ooh, it sounds like at this point it's Shark Tank time, right? This is where those businesses that you see on Shark Tank are ready to go. They have systems in place. They've developed processes. They've made sales. They might have even purchase orders for large quantity of sales. They might have had strategic partners with, giant retailers or whatever it is, but they just don't know. Now it's that overwhelming point of view, right? Now it's like these orders are coming in too fast. We need to set up something for manufacturing. We need to do all these things, and all those things cost money. What is it that an institution is looking for in order to loan money to a business?
Well, first of all, they're looking at revenue. All right. Depending on the type of funding that you're going to go for. Okay. They're looking at revenue. They're looking at their return. If it's a angel investor or a venture capitalist or whatever, they want to know, okay, what is the return on their ROI going to be? And, if it's an equity loan or whatever, they want to know, okay, that revenue is coming in and that you're going to be able to pay those loan payments back every month. So depending on what kind of funding you're going for. But the critical thing on the funded side is to be able to look ahead. All right. When I'm working with businesses and we're building our strategy for growth, we've got the long-term vision that we're looking at. For instance, my long-term vision for Market Atomy is I want to reduce the number of failed businesses in the United States. All right. And by doing that, I know we will improve our GDP, our labor force, and the psyche of those business, owners out there and their families. That's my long-term vision. All right. Additionally, what I want to do is I want to get in front of Congress, and I want to present a bill in front of Congress that's going to provide incentives for those solo micro entrepreneurs that can show that they have gone through the process of education to run a business. All right. So they can qualify for these incentives. Those are my long-term goals. But in order to reach those long-term goals, I have goals that I need to do, which include building the academy and getting those small, micro, solo entrepreneurs attending the academy and taking the courses and getting their certifications and everything. It includes Charged Up Studio, which is used as a tool to drive them to the academy. So I have a process in place that is designed to educate these small, solo, and micro entrepreneurs in what they need to do to grow their businesses. So I need to collect the data behind it.
Yeah, you're developing case studies. I mean, that's really what it is. You're proving that your system works, right? You're at that stage. You're making sure that, hey, look, I know you're in dire straits. I know you have too much month at the end of your money, but let me help you reorganize the way you're doing things so that we can get you in a position where you're successful. And by the way, this is a case study that I'm going to use to show other people that, yes, look, my process works. This is exactly what I did for this person, this person, this person, this company. In the funding stage, you're an LLC, right? So Market Academy LLC, when people incorporate, and you were talking about long-term, it's one of those things where if you're thinking long-term, you want to make sure you incorporate earlier rather than later because of some of these funding rules, right? I try to explain to entrepreneurs, just because you incorporate at the beginning, that's now an infant corporation. This is just the baby. There's nobody trusts it at all. It has no credit history. It has nothing to its name. So if you get started earlier, you have more chances of getting funding. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's exactly it. If you're going to try and get investment funds right from the very beginning, you're going to be giving away a good portion of your company. I had a client who I worked with. It's actually a 2-person client. And they had a tremendous business. They sold high-end women's sandals that were interchangeable. And they came to me and they were ready to go for some funding. They needed to look for funding. And when I was talking to them, it finally came out that there was actually 4 owners of the business, and all 4 owners owned 25%. So all the equity in the company was eaten up. And I said, look, if we're going to go for equity, for angel investing or equity loans or whatever, you need to be able to free up a good 20 to 30% of your equity, of your stock equity. And when they went back to their non-performing partners, they weren't willing to give up any of their stock. And so they ended up dissolving that company, taking their trademarked patent and starting a new company. But they wouldn't have been able to do that if they didn't have the knowledge that we brought to the table for them.
Strategy.
So this is where Market Academy comes into play. Is we bring down the knowledge base. These small businesses don't fail because they're underfunded or because they have poor management or anything. What they fail from is not knowing what they don't know about raising funds and building teams. If they had that knowledge, they would know enough to go in and be able to do this.
Yeah, you're helping them out. It's not just education. You're literally empowering them to succeed. And that's much more powerful. When you give them the tools necessary, because a lot of them do have that drive. They do have that ambition. They are working towards that goal. They just don't know what the next step is going to be.
And that's why we built the Academy. The Academy does take them on I'm a sequencer by nature, okay? So it does take them on a process. It tells them, here's what you need to do first, and here's what comes next. You don't necessarily have to develop it linearly, okay? But there is a process. You can't go from the see it stage right into the grow it stage without doing what's in between, because you don't know what your messaging is. You don't know your pricing structure. You don't know what your systems or processes are to be able to handle, anything that comes in. So those are the things that we're trying to teach them.
All right, last stage, the grow it stage. I mean, that's the funnest part, I think. Aside from the idea stage at the very beginning when you see it, right? When the light bulb goes off, this is where your dreams actually become reality, right?
Right. That's exactly it. By that time, by the grow it stage, hopefully you've done everything correctly. You've done things and things have really taken off, and you've gotten that investment that you needed, that funding investment. and getting that funding investment, you've gotten enough money to whereas you can, purchase, if it's manufacturing, purchase that equipment that you need to streamline the production process, or the computer equipment and software that you need to manage your sales and marketing processes much smoother. All those big ticket items. At the same time, I used to have this mentor, and he would work with me on the actual growth stage for my company. And he would always throw in, and we're going to do this movie, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, talking about Market Academy and how it came about, And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, at this time, I'm thinking there's just no way.
You're moving too fast, buddy. You're moving too fast.
And that's exactly it. You need to, yourself, and you need to understand when you need to pull back. Most small companies, when they start out, they are bombarded with companies coming to, I can do this and I can raise your revenue by this if you just spend this much money, things like that. And the fact of the matter is, whenever you're dealing with one aspect or another, without taking into consideration all the interdependencies of all the key performance indicators within that company, chances are it's not going to work. You can't just rely on social media to get, to bring in those customers you need.
It's a piece.
Yeah, it's a piece. It's an integrated approach. I have a product that is in its final development stages. Hopefully I'll be beta testing in the next 30 days. It's called the Business Health Check Assessment. And when I used to first meet with my clients, I would spend 4 hours going through asking them questions just to get a feel for where they are in their business right now, okay? And in a process to streamline it, I said, okay, I need to do something. I need to take this online. And I'm a database designer too, so I turned around and I developed a database that would ask these questions and score it. Well, that is getting ready to beta test. What that score does is it scores them in 20 different key performance indicators, everything from sales and marketing to operations to financial, everything. And those 20 different KPIs are boiled down into 5 critical areas: operational strength, financial strength, your sales and marketing strength, your product service viability, and the overall strength of your company and its management team. They get a score on those 5 areas, and I can look at the 20 KPIs and I can pretty much tell them where the gaps are within their company, and then give them direction on what they need to do to fill those gaps.
Then all those things, the 5 subjects that we talked about today, just the structure of how you're going to go on that path, the beta testing that you're going to be doing soon. If people want to get a hold of you, how can they get more information so maybe they can be part of the beta test or at least have a consultation with you?
I am on all of your social media platforms, including LinkedIn. You can reach me at Danna, DANNA, OLIVO, at marketatomy.com. Or you can go into marketatomy.academy and you can reach me through the contact page there.
Perfect. All right, ladies and gents, that's it. Look, that's how you run a business. I mean, all the stages are laid out for you right there. Marketatomy.academy, not .com. So .academy.
Right.
Go ahead and check it out. Go ask a question, send her a DM. Drop by the website, see what she's got going on. Danna's going to help you grow your business. If you're ready to take it to that next level, to hit that grow it stage, then it's up to you to go ahead and take action, because nothing happens in the idea phase. There's no such thing as $1 million idea, only $1 million execution. That's a Billie Jean line right there. All right, Danna, thank you very much for coming on the show. Before we head out, I got to ask, we're in the business of doing testimonials because, like you said, when you do a good job for somebody, capturing that video testimonial is the thing that's going to help grow your audience, grow your customer base. So I have 2 questions for you. 1, what was your experience like on the Business Bros podcast? And 2, who should be listening to the show?
Oh my goodness. The experience was out of this world. It was exciting, which, I love that excitement because that is built into what entrepreneurs are. And the people who need to be listening to this is, oh my goodness, those that take their business to the next level, because what you're bringing is clear, concise data. You're bringing clear, concise information to them.
Thank you very much. Look, ladies and gents, that's what we do.
Yeah.
Danna said some beautiful words to us. Why? Because we provided her a great experience on the show, and you're already doing that. You're doing great things for your customers. The problem is they only talk about how awesome you are for about 5 minutes, and then it's over. But if you capture it as a video testimonial, all of a sudden they'll talk about you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're going to be a part of your email campaigns to those prospects who are on the ropes. They're going to be part of your social media posts. It's going to be part of your website. It's going to be part of your Facebook ad campaign, YouTube ad campaign, you name it. Those video testimonials are gold. So if you guys want to get some video testimonials done for you, because maybe you don't know how to set it up, do the recording, let us take care of that for you. Go to businessbros.biz/testimonial so we can help you grow your business using your existing database. All right, Danna, thank you very much for coming on the show. I'm glad you had a great time. I got to know, I loved how you laid it out. That's really awesome. And I might have to steal a little bit of that when I talk about it on the show, refer back to you.
That's fine. That's fine. I appreciate it.
All right, ladies and gents, we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday. We're getting closer. It's going to be hump day, middle of the week. So we'll see you guys mañana. Peace out, y'all.
Thank you for listening to the Business Bros Podcast. Are you looking to get more clients or to increase your income? Hernan, the business bro, can help you generate referrals through the power of podcasting. And James, the insurance bro with Pipeline Insurance, can help you effectively add insurance to your existing business. If you are ready to create wealth today and generational wealth for tomorrow, email businessbros@csfirst.com to schedule a free consultation or join the Business Bros Network, www.businessbros.biz.